Welcome to the Silverthorne Pulse. I'm Kim Jardim with the town of Silverthorne. I'm here today with Town Manager Ryan Highland, and we're here to recap the November 8th, 2023 work session and council meeting. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kim.
So this is our one and only council meeting and work session for the month of November, so we won't be seeing you all again until December, but we're going to jump in with work session first. And there were recommendations to council for the 2024 nonprofit grant awards.
Yes, that is our annual process, which you're very familiar with because you coordinate it. And what do we have? 46 agencies, total request of $139,000, and so we've got a subset of the full town council that is a committee that goes through every one of those requests and figures out how to get some money back to our nonprofit. So I think by the end of the year, you reach back out and let everybody know kind of what the results were. So that subcommittee just shared with the whole council kind of what the process looked like this year and what their awards were, and a couple little slight tweaks here and there. But yeah, so those folks can wait to hear from you by the end of the year, I guess. Absolutely.
Yes, it's a fantastic process every year that all of the municipalities go through. And we have a common application to make it easy for nonprofits to apply to all of the towns. And by the end of the year, they're all alerted as to their awards for 2024, both cash and in kind. And it's wonderful to be able to support those organizations that do so much for our community.
Yeah, and that subcommittee, it rotates. And so we'll have 3 council members one year and then a different number of 3 council members the following year. So I think it mixes it up and works pretty well.
Yes. And so every month, the mayors, managers, and commissioners gather for breakfast, a breakfast meeting, and talk about, whatever the hot topics might be at that time. So you were giving council an update of the last mayor, managers, commissioners meeting.
Whenever we have mayor, managers, commissioners, we report back to council on what those conversations were. And the most recent meeting we had, which we hosted in Silverthorne, talked, like you said, we'll go around the table and talk about just what's going on in each of our communities. Talked a little about the upcoming state legislative session and things that might be coming there. But one of the things that came up was there was a drill, kind of a lockdown drill, I guess you call it, at Breckell in October. And so just some conversation about how that went, the interplay between different agencies and sheriff's office and school district, and just, it's why you do drills, right? Because that's where you can find some shortcomings or just glitches. And so a lot of conversation about that, which then morphed into a larger conversation about just the shared response that we have collectively in the county with sheriff's office, all of our municipalities on critical incidents. And so I think just, more conversation there from all of the electeds and managers about making sure that we're continuing to have those conversations, not just law enforcement having those, but making sure that we're all tuned in to that as well. So that was mayor managers.
Great. And there's also a manager's luncheon every month as well, where managers gather and talk about obviously the hot topics too. So
yeah, we usually have those, and then that's where we frequently will identify issues that say, we need to get with all of our mayors and the commissioners and talk about those things.
Great. And so, and you provide council updates on those meetings as well?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Great. So you also chatted about the fact that we have an election coming up in April, and the town of Silverthorne has a ballot item they'll be placing on the ballot
we'll actually have
next election.
2 items on the ballot, and was just reminding council that even though the election's not until April, in January, they would see formal actions at a council meeting to officially place those items on the ballot. So they would need resolutions to officially do that. They've already given staff the direction that they want to put 2 items on the ballot. We've talked about those before, but just briefly asking voters if they'd support a 2% increase in the lodging tax to help fund a rec center expansion and a new police facility, and then also being able to leverage 5A dollars for our housing into the future. So not changing any taxing, but just making sure that we can cash flow some of those projects. So those will be on. So in January, council will take formal action to place them, but again, they've already given that direction. January is also, we'll have council seats that are up this year, and so January is also the start of that process. We can talk more about that in December maybe, but that's the beginning of that process if folks are interested in running for council.
Fantastic. And Burger King, demolition update. That building will be going away soon.
Yeah, just want to let the public know that they will be seeing activity there, which means, yeah, that building won't exist. I think we're looking at December is probably the time frame that we'll do that. So we've just been working with the utilities to make sure that everything's set and ready to go so that we can get rid of that. And again, the background there is the town purchased that for our transportation master plan to make sure that we have control of the property that we need to widen roads and do the things that we need to do in that area. So that's what will be going on there. We did also talk about, although it's not a town property, the town has issued a demolition permit for a portion of the Red Village at the outlets at Silverthorne. So if folks are familiar with it was kind of an indoor mall, if you will, and that particular building is the one where a demo permit has been issued. And I'm sure when folks see that going down, the speculation and the rumors and all of that will start. And I can tell you that the outlets have a number of different concepts that could go in that location, but they have not made a final determination. They have not submitted any plans to the town. So with that, we'll just let the rumors do what they do. And people love to do that and have at it.
So the Red Village is the area which was Tommy Hilfiger, Gap,
Right.
Chico's,
Yeah.
those buildings, correct?
As you're headed to the ball fields at the base of the dam or the recycling center, that first building on your left,
Right.
Which is on the west side of the creek, is the one that will be, it's empty now, and so that's the one that will be demolished.
Wow. Lots happening in Silverthorne.
Yeah.
For sure. So moving into the regular council meeting, we had several items on the consent calendar related to private development, a grant, and an art board appointment.
Yeah, the consent calendar, just for everybody's knowledge, is the portion of the agenda where it's routine business, and so we package those all together. We had items A through G, and unless council really has a question on any one of those, they just approve it in mass as one group. So, but yeah, like you said, new art board member, some grant applications, routine land use stuff. So that all got approved.
Great. And in the public hearing section of the meeting, there were 4 ordinances, all related really to our finance department, and
Yeah.
some of which were budget items.
Yeah, second reading of all of these ordinances, and so we've gone through a lot of work on the budget, starting at the council retreat and multiple work sessions, first reading, and so second reading is just the final approval. So Laura Kennedy, our finance director, walked through just some of the highlights of the budget and the rates and fees, and it's a bit anticlimactic for an incredibly big part of what we do, but that's kind of how second readings are. So budget got approved, rates and fees, and some tweaks to sales tax definitions all got approved.
Great. Under action items, there were 4 ordinances, 3 of which I believe were related to Smith Ranch, and then 1 related to 4th Street Crossing.
Yeah, things going on in the Smith Ranch area. The first 2 items are related to the Trent Park expansion and the connection of the roadway there, making sure that we've got neighborhood-to-neighborhood connections. And as was the original plan, the Smith Ranch neighborhood, connecting that to Trent Park and expanding that so that that can function as a neighborhood park for the Smith Ranch neighborhood. So to do that, a couple of things. We've been working, talking to property owners, including the Willowbrook HOA, and making sure that we can acquire the pieces of property to get that road through there. So a couple items on the agenda approved related to that. We didn't have anything on the agenda related to Excel, but I will, hopefully I don't jinx us. Today is supposed to be a closing of getting property from them to make that road connection work. And I'll just say that that has been a fairly long process, about 5 years. So hopefully that closing happens today. Excel doesn't exactly work at the speed of light, but finally in a position to acquire that property so we can make that road connection. They have excess property there that they haven't needed, but it's taken a while to get that to come to fruition. So another thing in the Smith Ranch, we did have an ordinance related to an easement. So there was a historic easement that would take you through what is now the Smith Ranch neighborhood up to the low ranch, which is kind of tucked in between Ruby Ranch and Willowbrook. So just making sure that that easement still exists, although it's not really the main access, but just a little housekeeping, if you will, on easements. And then, yeah, you mentioned the 4th Street crossing, so they're getting close to being completed on the mixed-use units on the north end of that block. And so when you get to that point and they're condominiumized, there's a business improvement district, so they need to make sure that the commercial spaces are in the district and that the residential are out. So kind of some housekeeping there as well. That was always the plan, and so just implementing the final parts of the business improvement district.
Great. Back to the Adams Avenue extension for a moment. That will be such an incredible improvement for the neighborhood-to-neighborhood connections that you were speaking of.
Yeah.
Just to get folks off of that main road.
Yeah.
And,
the sidewalk is connected to the highway, and
yes.
if you've got kids who are in
Yes.
Willowbrook and want to go to Target, that's pretty terrifying.
Yes.
And so what this will do, that road connection, you could go all the way from Summit Sky Ranch basically to Wilderness without having to touch Highway 9,
Yes.
whether that's in a vehicle, on a bike, on foot. So yeah, kind of a final connection.
Yeah, it's concerning watching school-age children wobbling on their bikes along that sidewalk near the highway, or walking to school, or any of that. So yeah, that'll be fantastic.
Take that out of the mix.
Yes, wonderful.
And
that's great.
an incredible park expansion. So
yes,
yeah, pump track and lots of great stuff coming next summer.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's it for us for today. We will see you back in December, and thank you for joining us.